We'd love to get some more input from our parents, particularly at this time, on when they began to become more familiar with these special attributes that the education system must bring in as part of the day-to-day experience. If you had those if you didn't have those experiences with your children most of the time, when did you begin to find out about or recognize that these were things that not only should be, but could be a part of your child's experience?
That's a deep question. Let me tell you that I had a vision for where I wanted my children to be, and I think that all parents want their children to do better than they did. And when I had a son, I wanted my son to go to Morehouse College, and I held on to that dream for a very, very long time, until I started to realize, what do you have to do in order to get there? You know, what's the criteria for being accepted there? Never mind even the fact that that may not have been his interest, but I had a dream and an ambition and a desire to see my son succeed with his education. And when I started to look at, once he was getting ready to go to high school, and I started to look at, well, what books does he need to be reading? Where should his reading be? And I went and looked at the public library, and there was a list of, in the 9th grade, college-bound reading lists, and then they had it for the 10th grade. And then I looked on the internet and looked at what the best schools. I think I Googled, you know, the best high schools in the United States, and then some of them were private schools, and I wanted to see what were they reading in those schools. And then I went to my son's school and said, can you please tell me, I went to the guidance counselor, because I called the school and I couldn't get to my son's ELA, English teacher, so I called the guidance counselor and said, can you please tell me what the reading list is for the 9th grade? And he assumed my last name is a Latino last name, and he said to me, and I kid you not, he said, Mommy, why you want to know what he's reading in school? Trust me, he's doing all right. And if you want him to be reading something, then get him the books at home. And I said, I think I need to make an appointment to come in and see you. And that meeting didn't go well, and I think it just snowballed from that. I think I got labeled as a problem parent, and that set off a whole explosion of things going on. And I recognized that my son was not going to go to Morehouse. Not that I didn't insist that he apply, and he was rejected. But he wasn't prepared, certainly was not prepared for what the criteria was. But
he's doing now, right?
Well, actually right now, he to a certain extent, but that's another story. We can discuss later. The point is that I also recognized that I was all alone. I felt like the Lone Ranger. And I just decided that I had to do something and began to go to hearings and where they were taking testimony from the public at the city council and wherever I saw that there was something going on with education. I made it my business to go and listen and learn, and it was through those avenues that I began to recognize that there are advocacy organizations and grassroots organizations that are fighting against exactly what that experience of being silenced and shut down, and also it was not just about my child then. Yes. It also became, well, all these children, what about all these parents and those that don't speak English, and what's happening here? And an understanding that there was a bigger picture, there was something else that was going on undermining what education I believed should be.
Yes. That central issue of it's not only my child, but it's all of our children that we must address is one of the beautiful experiences that I've had in working with many of the folks in the education struggle. Brenda, could you share a bit of your experiences with respect to working at the neighborhood level and at the citywide level?
Well, some of my experiences dealing with parents at the neighborhood level, hearing other parents say, as Sam expressed earlier, about the system and the way it is now set up, where parents are not welcome, no longer welcome in the school, and you have parent leaders, people that took the time out to go to their PTA meetings, become presidents, who have been also getting that feeling of that unwelcome feeling, trying to do what's best for not only their child, as Benita said, but everyone's child, and you know, feeling ostracized, further ostracized from the system, from what things, you know, what was important to them, from their level of understanding and dealing with community and dealing with, you know, children in the community and the love for the needs of our children. And so I started seeing some things that just wasn't correct, and then I became more involved too through issues that my children were having, that, you know, particularly my sons, you know, which that's a whole other issue, the whole criminalization of our children in the public schools. And I mean, I read early on books like Jawanza Kunjufu and the Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy All Black Boys, and you know, when I read it, I was like, oh, they can't be doing that, you know. But then I started living it and understanding it, and also at the same time trying to explain it to my sons. This is what you're going to deal with. So you know, now I'm the mother. You know, oh God, she's coming to the school. You know, oh please don't call her. Oh, you know, and you know, again trying to make my children aware of the different things that's going to befall them, and especially because as we as parent advocates and education activists in the school, you know, how we're shut out and retaliated against for our involvement, bringing certain things to light. But just seeing so much, and I have one better. A teacher told my son, well, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to be a drug dealer, or you're going to you're going to sell drugs, or you know, what are you going to do? You join a gang, you know, and you know, yeah. So, you know, so these are some things, you know. These are reasons why I stay vigilant, you know. Right.
We'll definitely be picking up on that in the next edition of our series. We have about 30 seconds remaining, and in that time, we want to just let people know about our organizations very briefly. First, Dr. Anderson, your organizations include?
The Coalition for Public Education and Black New Yorkers for Educational Excellence.
All right, Benita?
The Mother's Agenda New York, also known as the MNN.
Okay, Brenda?
Operation Power, people organizing and working for empowerment and respect.
And Sister Barron, please share with us a bit about some organizations you're involved in.
Operation Power, of course, with that one, and the Freedom Party, which I'm so proud to say was vigilant and in the forefront of fighting against Kathleen Black getting that appointment, waging struggle, protests, going to her house, demonstrating, and the battle is not over. We're going to continue that. And we want to invite people to come to the Freedom Party. We're having our convention at the National Black Theater, February 12th and 13th. Stay tuned. Come be a part of that great venture.
Thank you again. And again to all of you.
One other thing, I want to invite people to come to Albany for the Black Caucus weekend, February 18th, 19th, and 20th.
We'll be sure to be there. Thank you all for listening in, and we will be following up with several programs on the Education for Liberation movement. Thank you and good night.